TPCSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for Sportsbooks and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the app.
2,000 years long, we will never settle. Hard days, no rain with a heavy metal. No time, no fail, won't stop here. Like a torch to a flame when it burns hot. We won't stop, come on, take me higher.
Good morning, sports fans from all around the globe. I am the host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors. It's that time of the weekend morning. Korn Flakes Krack with the legend, the one and only Mr. Bill Krackomberger. Exciting times here at ECSI and the ECSI Media Group. We couldn't be happy to start the week with Bill Krackomberger to get a view on Vegas, to get a view on sports, Circa contests. Where can I get the best corned beef, Bill? Is it at the Del Mar Deli? Well, you'll have a what slot's hot, what's not. Again, it's a great 15-20 minutes just to start the week, a weekend recap, SEC struggles, yada, yada, yada. But first and foremost, a shout out to our proud sponsor and partnerships, WagerWire. If you haven't downloaded the app, please head on over to Google Play, download it. It's free. I promise you, Zach, Travis, myself will take good care of you there. CT Bets, Viva Tequila Seltzer, the best tequila seltzer in the land. Go try one. Tell them JD sent you from ECSI. And our newest sponsor, Atlanta Steaks and Seafood, Terry Smith from Atlanta, Georgia. The best quality on steak, seafood, lamb chops. I promise you. I know you heard of Omaha, but I promise you, Atlanta Steaks and Seafood, A, has better quality. You be the judge. And B, the best customer service in the land. So without further ado, the true star of this show, the one and only, Mr. Bill Krackomberger.
Hey,
Good
what's
morning,
going on,
Billy.
buddy? Good. How you doing? All right. I got you
We
in a
survived.
little blue today instead of black. Always black every day. I figured make up a little blue for you. Change it around a little bit.
And I'm pimping the BC college football shirt. Big game with Florida
Big
State.
game today.
Yeah, the debut of Mr. Bill O'Brien. I work at the home games with Anthony Pepe and the diehards, and we'll be there Saturday at 3:30 against Duquesne. But the weekend's over. The hysteria, the wait is over. NFL kicks off Thursday. We've seen week 0 now in college football, and obviously week 1 with the upset last night, USC beating LSU. What'd your eyes see over the weekend in some college football?
Yeah. Well, this game was a big game for Las Vegas. As a matter of fact, they sold more tickets. They fit more people in the stadium, at Allegiant Stadium, than they did at any of the Raiders games. So. But I knew just walking around this weekend, I was at the Cosmo this weekend, and I had never seen a casino that busier. It was absolutely jammed with, but I seen for every one USC jersey or shirt, I seen 15 to 20. That's right. They outnumbered them like 15 to 1 LSU fans. They were all here in droves, and people from the South, real friendly, really nice crowd. I talked to a lot of them. A lot of them, amazingly, I was really surprised how much gamble, because, people, if I'm in a casino, it's a casino setting. That's like my wheelhouse. People will come up to me all the time asking me things, and I had more people from Louisiana and just down south and everyone coming up to me, and they're gamblers, and it kind of shocked me because I guess I'm always thinking, like, that's like south of, like, South Carolina is the Bible Belt or something. I don't know why I'm thinking that they aren't – they have casinos all over. I met some people from Baton Rouge. There's casinos all over Louisiana, and gambling's almost ingrained in them, just like they were for me being from up north. So real friendly crowd, real Southern hospitality crowd, and they're just nice people. And but you should know when people are 15-1 outnumbering someone who's going to cover the game, never mind win the game. But I didn't bet. I didn't have a side in the game. But that line opened up at 6, went down to, well, they were begging for LSU money at a couple sports books in town, -3.5, -05. I know Westgate had. I seen the offshore line, which was Chris. They were at 3.5. So some of the sharper books were telling you that they only want money on the favorite, which means there was a lot of money on the dog in that game. And the weekend itself, though, it was opening weekend. Like you said, let's call it week 0. And a lot of people were really excited. And let me just tell you something, Jeff. This week, now you have Thursday night football game, of course, Kansas City and Baltimore. You have Friday night from Brazil, which I still don't understand how that happened in Brazil. You have the Eagles playing the Packers. So there's games on both nights on TV. And I know people are waiting with bated breath, and they can't wait to get their bankroll in action. But you have to remember, these games, I know they're on TV and they're standalone games, and no matter what I say, you say, the sharpest minds in the world say, people are going to have a bet on those games no matter what, because their bankroll's been sitting all year waiting for the NFL. And I just don't know if that's the proper thing to do unless you get the proper line. Now, here we have South Point, which they do not use juice when they move the game. So it's 2.5, that Kansas City game. Matter of fact, the only 2.5 in the world that I see anywhere, -2.5, -$1.10, is the South Point. Now, if they move the game, they'll go right to 3. So they won't go to -2.5, -20. That's what I mean by juice. They won't add the extra juice. It's just -110 both ways. As a matter of fact, they were on 3 for a while. Someone came in, bet $200,000 on Baltimore. They posted the ticket on their socials. So now it went down to -2.5. And I actually bet the -2.5, -110. I think there's a little bit of value there. But if it was 2.5, -15, I would tell you no. So it's an interesting thing. But I know everyone will have their bankrolls, like I was saying before, ready for this week. And they can't wait to fire. And they get caught up in the excitement and the hubbub. Let me just tell you something. These lines have been out for 4-5 months. That's right. Back in May, these lines were out. This is a very efficient market. The lines are where they are, and they're taking lots of bets. Just to prove it, you can walk up to any big casino in town, the MGMs, the Caesars, the Wynn. You can walk up, as much money as you could fit in your backpack, you could dump out on the counter. And if you want a side on Thursday night's game or Friday night's game or even any of the Sunday games, they'll take your bet. However, if you want to bet a proposition bet over under so many yards, the yards by Mahomes, passing yards by Mahomes, they're going to limit you to $500 or maybe a dime, maybe $1,000. So that goes to show you how efficient the NFL is. By the way, that's all year long, not just now where they're really inefficient for months and months. All year long, Monday comes out, it's a soft market, Sunday night, Monday morning for the following week. That line is a little bit more brittle. So they'll take, even for me, they'll take $1,000 on totals, maybe $3,000 on sides or something like that. Tuesday, Wednesday, go along. Thursday, they'll have full limits. Friday, you can bring whatever you want. This is the hardest sport to beat, is NFL sides, followed by NBA sides. I've been preaching that for years. I've worked with the sharpest, beyond sharpest gambling syndicate groups in the world over my last 30 years. I'll just tell you what, I only know 1 or 2 that went at NBA and NFL sides. Now, totals is different. The totals market, first half totals, proposition bets, very beatable. You could beat them. I have every single year. But as far as NFL sides, which is the most popular bet, everyone can't wait to go to the counter, and they can't wait to parlay. Oh, my God, Cincinnati they're going to beat New England. Oh, by 9? I don't know, but I could put them in a money line parlay because they're definitely going to win. And, money line parlay with other big favorites, like the next biggest one I think is like the Saints 5-point favorite. The Saints could easily lose that game. It's not, it's Carolina, I understand, but people love to parlay money line favorites, and that's exactly what the book wants you to do.
Hey, Billy, shout out to Amber. Shout out to Sean Higgs. Shout out to Joey Matt. Joey Matt's got a question for you. Maybe you got the answer. He goes, Bill, what do you think of Tyreek Hill plus 650 to lead the league in receiving? I think that might be the most enticing over under.
I still can't believe that Tyreek Hill is where he is. I just can't even believe it. And yet, Kansas City still did great. So I have no qualm. Listen, they're actually supposed to be really good this year. They probably, Miami really. I'm down on Buffalo this year. So I don't know if Buffalo is going to win this division. I may have to go. I really may have to go with Miami to win that division. But I'm not looking at that right now. I'm just looking at the odds where he found plus 650. I wanted to see if it was an efficient. It's not. I don't like betting a market where it's one-way odds. So in other words, it's plus 5-1, plus 6-1, plus 8-1 on different teams or different players. I know there's a 25-30% hold on that type of futures market. Like very rare, I'll bet a team to win the Super Bowl, unless I have multiple, which I do have multiple shops to shop. I bring down that hold to a single-digit hold. However, though, I am usually under on all player props. My season-long player props. When I went out to Foxwoods, and even I was in Florida recently, betting a lot of these type of things. In Foxwoods, I bet that's DraftKings. I am allowed to bet the DraftKings counter. So I bet most of my stuff under on player props. I haven't really looked into Tyreek Hill at 6.5-1. I don't know if that's also just not a good number or not. It sounds like it might be okay. And you know what? Here's the reason why I have no problem with people throwing $5 or $10 or something small on bets like that. You have action for the entire year. So if it makes you bet less on other things because you have a route, well then, okay, I don't have no problem with you tying up some money for the year. If your average bet's, let's say, $100 and you want to throw down $20 on Tyreek Hill at 6.5-1, I have no problem with you doing that. It's a fun little token bet. Just don't get too serious on those futures every single week, because I notice a lot of these new sports books that are to the country, the DraftKings, the FanDuels, all the big books, they every week after the games are over, they put up lines again for on certain things like this type of market, and you just don't want to get caught up betting into the type of markets where you're betting futures with 25-30% holds. You might be better off playing Keno.
You talked about the market. You talked about 4 or 5 months. These big sports books put out quote unquote the game of the years, and so there Superbook at Westgate. Shout out to Mr. Murray there and Jay Cornegay. You literally they have the lines out for every game in the NFL throughout the year. I don't know what their limits are, but my point is the Circa, Jeffrey Benson. When we're getting ready for kickoff on Sunday for the NFL, his group, his sharp group, what they do is they'll give them dime and 2 dime limits, and they'll give them 2 bites at the apple for 15 minutes. So they're setting their college lines. And so by the time the NFL's over on Sunday, Mr. Benson and his group will now release what the sharps are playing versus his opening number and get a better sense of the line there. Thoughts on the copy and paste groups, which is 95% of the world, versus the creators, the originators, the Pinnacles, the Chris's, the Jeffrey Bensons at the circus?
Well, you may think that Circa puts up the first line, but that's a farce. So people think that, and granted, I'm nothing against the Circa. I mean, they're very good to me. I've been down there multiple times and for some parties and stuff. But as far as their group, to be honest with you, they're a little bit safer than people think. They were like last to put up preseason, which bothered me because one of the things I destroy is preseason football. So again this year, so they're a little safe. They're a little safe as far as that goes. As far as putting up the lines first, well, lines come up, believe it or not, DraftKings and FanDuel. Which, by the way, FanDuel, even though they limit me on the app, so does DraftKings. FanDuel has a very sharp line. They have very sharp bookmakers from across the pond that are helping with their originating of lines. I'll give them credit for that. I'll talk good and bad about all the sports books that I feel for certain areas. I mean, after all, they this is how I make my living. So even though I'm involved in a lot of media now, Jeff, thank God that, media goes away for a lot of people. We're seeing it now where everyone's losing their sponsors. I have a dozen people text me and say, "Oh my God, Bill, could you help me? I lost my sponsor." Well, that's me. Thank God. If I lose any sponsor, I'm back to where I make my money anyway. I make more money betting sports than anything else. So, but anyway, going back to, it's hard. Media. I don't really know as many people that are in media that could say that. Going back to the Circa. Circa does put up player props though on the weekends on NFL. Oh my God, I'm very happy with those limits. They're very good to me, like I said on them. But as far as putting lines up first, like I said, DraftKings and FanDuel shocked me when they put up these lines. DraftKings puts these lines up first. And you want to know something? They're a soft market sometimes. They put up some bad stuff at DraftKings, in my opinion. It's the reason why they don't let anyone with a pulse bet on the app. And they want, but the counter, they're pretty good to me. Like I said, at Foxwoods. But believe it or not, it's the Chris. It's not even Pinnacle. Pinnacle used to be great when they had the three wise men that owned it. You had Stanford, Harvard grads, very, very smart Jewish guys, geniuses, by the way, over there on the helm in Curacao in the beginning. But they are nowhere near what they're like now. They're almost a copy and paste book. Believe it or not, even though they're reduced juice, the limits they take are nothing like they used to take in the old days. But yet on Sundays, they'll take, like the Circa takes, they'll take six figures on an NFL game. A very efficient market. Why wouldn't they? As far as putting up the lines first, I'm going to tell you, it's almost embarrassing me saying DraftKings because they put up a line, but do they take the bet? That kind of pisses me off. But FanDuel does. They put up a very sharp line. I think FanDuel's bookmakers are one of the top three in the nation. I'll say FanDuel and Chris, and even Pinnacle. Pinnacle has a good solid line when they take bets at a certain level. But yeah, I look at those. I'll tell you what. I'll give you free advice for anyone. On Sunday night, when the games are going on in the NFL, when that last Sunday night game's going on, you'll see the lines will be popping up for the NFL and college football. I would say everyone to take a screenshot of that line, where that line comes up first, where that line originates. And Circa may actually get involved and put up – they did put up lines. They were putting up lines early. They were in the top 4 or 5 at the beginning. And, you may want to just see where that line is and take a photo of that compared to the next morning just to get a grasp of what the sharp guys are doing. I know me, I look at the lines, but I don't bet anything really on Sunday night. Monday morning is when the NFL moves. Bright and early, I can guarantee you when we come on air next Monday, 7:30 a.m. East Coast time, 10:30 my time, vice versa, 10:30 East Coast time, 7:30 a.m. my time in Vegas. I can guarantee you there will be lines moving around, and I'll even have maybe a total throughout the season every Monday. One thing about this show you don't know yet, Jeff, Monday mornings, my alarm's set for 5:30 a.m. every Monday. So I will be up firing away on some totals. I'll be able to give you guys them and maybe even some of them live here on the show.
Shout out to Slim Shady, Howard Blindman, always time to listen to Crack. Shout out to Mr. Smooth himself, Mr. Sean Alvarez. And Bill, you got a question? We got about 3 minutes to go. Good Life Auto Sales. Bill, which app or website do you use to check lines for all different casinos, sports, and betting sites?
It's a great question, and thank you for that question. Thank you for those people that are watching out live. Like you mentioned, some really good names in there. I know a couple of those guys. I wouldn't pay for any type of a line service unless you're really serious about doing sports betting for a living. Now, I was just with one of Spanky's guys here at dinner, and he told me that they have a free line service, and he showed me it. So listen, even though it's delayed a couple minutes, why wouldn't you want that? It's unbelievable. They have most of the sports books out on their service. So I would tell you, Spank odds on their free line service, not the one you pay for. There's one that's a 2-minute delay, one that's a live. I think it's one that's 5-minute delay. That's all you need. That's the greatest thing to see all the live lines all around the country. I say live, it's 5-minute delay. That's what I would recommend.
It's funny because, way back, there were some free sites around. The Sports Insights, which is now Action, of course. Don Best, way back in the day, used to be the best. I use Spank Odds religiously, and I call it Don Best on steroids, Bill.
Yeah, yeah. No, they Spanky's done a great job. He's opened up competition in the industry. I absolutely love that. Don Best needed competition. I want to tell you something. Their injuries and stuff are ahead of they're ahead of Don Best. So shout out to what he has done, and I appreciate it because we needed competition in the industry. So. And and Spanky's not even making any money on this right now. So he's got a ton of technical guys. I visited their office. It's unbelievable how many people he has on the payroll for that side of the business. Now he's also a bettor, but that side of the business, giant overhead. And he gave it away free for many months. He just started charging recently. But again, those free odds for people on a delay, definitely worth it. Check it out.
Hey, Billy, about 30 seconds to a minute here as we always end the show. What we want to do here is throw you a nice little 7-yard button hook and tell everyone where they can find all your work. Tell them where you'll be appearing the rest of the week before we circle back next Monday, same time.
Oh, my God. I have 11 spots this week, Jeff. 11. I'm on Fox Sports Radio every weekend. I'm doing hits throughout the week on different various Fox Sports Radio spots. I do my podcast on Wednesdays. It's on YouTube and Spotify at Crack Wins with a K, and that's also on YouTube. Just put at Crack Wins, and you'll get my podcast. Again, different radio hits around the country throughout the week. I'm doing hits on some of the biggest drive time traffic. I'm doing a Florida one, Washington D.C., Los Angeles. So doing some hits throughout the week. But of course, like I said, sports betting is my main thing. So also at Bill Crackman, of course, on Twitter. I post on there almost every day, one or two things. And thanks for having me on, Jeff. It's going to be fun all season. Korn Flakes and Krack. Love it.
The one and only Bill Krackomberger. We can't thank you. Have a great week. Hope you survive in advance in the Circa Survivor. Probably be one of the first questions that we have on Monday. So have a blessed week, Billy. We'll see you soon.
Thanks.
The one and only Bill Krackomberger, the best. He just, me and Billy go way back whenever I get into Vegas. We meet at the South Point, whether it's at the Del Mar deli to, grab a corned beef, grab a pastrami, sit at the Sportsbook, talk to Jimmy Vaccaro, Chris Andrews, the Veasan boys, or just relaxing a nice steak or something. So he's the best in the business. Grab your pom-poms. Grab your notebooks. Someone's about to make his debut. Mr. George Riley Panagakis. Pancakes with Panagakis. See you soon.
2,000 years long, we will never settle. Hard days, no way, with a heavy metal. No time, no fail, won't stop here. Like a torch to a flame when it burns hot. We won't stop, come on, baby,
The one, the infamous, Mr. Notebook himself, Mr. George Panagakis.
Jeff, good morning. Here's the Notebook. I'm glad we finally got together and I'm on the show. I've been watching you for a while. You're a lot of fun.
Well, we're happy to have you, George. We figured, why not? It's week 1. We've made it to Labor Day. It's the official start of the NFL. We know you've been talking for a long time. You were at Bet Bash. It's time for Circa Survivor, NFL. I assume you couldn't be more fired up, George.
Jeff, you are so right. The last couple of weeks have been okay, but June and July, just like everybody else, I was dying for football. And then, and then I just realized I got to make some videos. They're fun for me, keep people entertained. I'd be going into the woods, putting boards out, lifting boards, looking for snakes. And now whenever I go out for my meals now, I make pictures. And People love my pictures of my food, and maybe one or two of the meals a day I do that, and people got to make pro and negative comments, and that's the industry we're in. You got no football, you got to go to Plan B, and I think big picture people enjoy the content.
Well, the funny George is my daughters took me out Saturday to Estia. I live on Cape Cod, Massachusetts. It's this fine dining Greek restaurant. Had some amazing lamb lollipops. The food was just off the charts. So I thought of you immediately, and I was like, wonder what George would think here with the lamb lollipops and the gyros, the Greek salads, the tzatziki sauce. Right up your alley, right?
I would have loved it. I'll take a $40 lamb dinner over an overpriced $80 steak dinner anytime. And there's probably there's a few dozen great Greek restaurants in the whole country, and if you found one, good for you.
Shout out to Sean Higgs, cracking the notebook. He says this day can't get any better, and it can't. It's Labor Day. It's football season. The notebook is here. I'm going to circle back for a minute, George. Jeffrey Benson, the Circa, Bet Bash. Tell us about your experience at the Bet Bash.
That was great. Yeah, that was Bet Bash 4. I flew in Wednesday. I flew in Wednesday morning, took a really early flight out of O'Hare. I was literally there before the first seminar of the day, and then I left Friday and had lunch with Jeff. Spanky. I was actually at Bet Bash 1 3 years ago, and that was in Jersey City, New Jersey, right across the river there from Manhattan. I flew in for that one, and that was 100 guys in a bar. Everyone paid $95. That's what Spanky charged, and I flew in. We had fun. Bet Bash 2, I was escorted out by security. That's a long story. I missed Bet Bash 3 last year, and I was at Bet Bash 4 3 weeks ago. And my God, there are hundreds of people there. The people that are there, they love it. You got pros, you got amateurs. Everyone's happy. And sports gambling right now is really big, and Spanky really touched onto something. And it's only going to get bigger. And this Circa, there isn't a spot of dust in this place. The place is always spotless, always someone cleaning up. This Legacy Club, it's just a private club. You go up a separate elevator. It's just a bar on the rooftop. It's about 5,000 square feet, and like 2/3 is inside, 1/3 is outside on the roof. It could not be any better. And this Circa, they know it's not a corporate place. They know their customer. They take care of people. I walk around. Mike Palm will say, "Hey George, how you doing?" And he's like Derek's right hand man. I love that. So if you ever got a problem, you talk to someone and they take care of it. None of this corporate stuff. They're not afraid to do something and do it right. Just like the Circa Survivor. They started this thing. It just exploded. It's just it's a small group of people, and I love everything about it.
Well, good friends, colleague, Mr. Jeffrey Benson, behind the desk, obviously in the risk room for the Sportsbook. I call, obviously, the Circa the Mecca. If anyone has not been to the Circa, do yourself a favor, even if you're staying on the Strip in Vegas, make a point to get back to Fremont Street, to head on up there. As George is saying, the hospitality is second to none. You feel at home, and if you're a sports bettor, it's like you died and went to heaven. And Derek Stevens, as you said, Mike Palm, Mr. Benson. Give us your thought when you finally met the 6'8" Jeffrey Benson.
Right. He's a 7-footer. Wink, wink. I actually first met him when I had a 5-minute conversation. Was over a year ago when they opened the brick and mortar location here in Chicago in Waukegan. If it's a half an hour north of O'Hare. So I had a 10-minute conversation with Jeff the first time a year ago. So we have a very small relationship with each other. We both we both like each other a lot, and we both back and forth on Twitter. And it's so great if you just have a question or a problem with the sportsbook. Any of these companies, like for example, DraftKings a year ago, I was wondering, when are they going to open the Wrigley Field, location? You send out a question. Nobody could answer anything. If you ever have a problem with Circa or you have a simple question on a policy, you just send Jeffrey a tweet. In 5 minutes, he'll give you an answer, and he knows what he's talking about. What other company, what other company can do that? No way. It's called customer service. And this is how, I mean, Derek's a great guy. Jeffrey, everyone loves their job there. Jeffrey's like the right-hand man there at the sport. Everyone, I love the small family thing because everything is taken care of. None of this corporate BS there.
All right. You got the notebook in front of you. I know you
Yeah.
got a boatload of futures. Explain the method of the madness. What's behind the mad scientists? And if you want to talk about a few of your futures, the stage is yours, George.
Well, I wish there was the method to the madness is tricky. Right, one of my niches is long-term NFL futures, and that's really more of a feel. It's not like there's really like a formula. Like very simple. Right now, I think New England is going to be a really, really bad team this year. I think they got no wide receivers, no offensive line. They got a coach that a week ago had a hard time even answering questions. He's never been a coordinator. And I think this New England, I think they're in big, big trouble. So as of right now, my big under bet is New England. The very simple bets. I got a big bet under 5.5 wins. I have literally 7,000 on that exact bet under 5.5 wins at an average price. This is a little bit of an alt line at an average price of roughly minus 175, roughly. So I'm thinking there's literally no way this team is going to win 6 games. 6 games means they have to win over 1/3 of their games. I think it's a horrendous team. And here's their 3 other games. In other words, you play your division and you play 2 other divisions and you play 3 other random teams because you came in last place. Listen to their last place games, how shafted they got. Cincinnati, they came in last year. The Bears, the LA Chargers. So these are their 3 last place games. The worst team of the 3, is average. They just got a bad deal with the schedule. I just got this team pounded in the under, and it's just you have to know football. They're in big trouble.
Is this now? I follow you. I follow your content. I love your content. Is this one of these where you are playing? In other words, at any point on your futures, obviously you give us the week to week value updates as you always do there. But my question is at the halfway point or 10, 11, 12 games in, are you also looking for hedge opportunities or possible middle opportunities as well throughout this 17, 18 weeks season?
Of course, yes, I could. Right now, it's a very difficult question to answer right now because, for example, in 10 weeks from now, I have no idea what's going to happen. But if I like a middle or a hedge, I would do it. But in general, of course, you'll usually pay a little juice. You might be a little bit of a slight EV. The key with me with hedges or middles, I have to like the other side anyway. It's not like I do it just to throw money away. I have to like the hedge. I have to like the bet. For example, last year I became famous. I had my big bet, Baker Mayfield comeback player of the year. I mean, I had 2,700 at 70. I would have won 200 grand if he was, and if he wouldn't come, I would have won over 200 grand. Back to the hedging example. In November, Damar Hamlin, he opened at minus 500 to be comeback player of the year, and I never touched that. I thought it was a sucker. I don't like laying wood. I like to take the long shot. In November, when maybe he played five plays all year, whatever it was, he was like minus 120 to be comeback player of the year, almost even money. So at that point, I bet on Damar Hamlin, thinking it was a perfect. I thought he was at least 50-50 to get the sympathy vote anyway. But number 2, I wanted to have a little bit of a hedge, thinking one of these 2 are going to win. Either I break out even or I make big money. So I bet on Damar last November 3,000, and of course we all know it was a loser. Joe Flacco, it was a 1,000-to-1 shot. Don't even get me started. But that cost me 8,700 last year. That was brutal. But I love that hedge last year on Damar Hamlin.
1,000% there. Ryan Jeffrey, good juju to your season, George. Sorry we missed you at Bet Bash. Mr. Brian Gaskell, the gas man, under 4.5. I love it. Best news I woke up to ever. George, you got the Bears hat on. It's a great division this year. I get the, obviously the Lions aren't just the favorite in the clubhouse. I got them as the number one team in the NFC right now in my head. I think the Packers are a second. I think Minnesota takes a step back. Sam Darnold, they draft J.J. McCarthy, obviously out for the year there. The Bears, Caleb Williams comes in. You bring over Keenan Allen. I am a huge. I have about 15 high stakes fantasy football teams competing this year. Every team that I possibly can get DJ Moore, I get him. I think he's going to have a fabulous year. Thoughts, outlook, buzz in the city. Caleb, the Bears. What are you expecting from the Bears this year?
Yeah, you know what? I big picture, I agree with what you said. The Bears, they're finally going to be exciting. Caleb Williams, the guy's got a lot of he's got a lot of talent. He's really a nice kid. 3-4 months ago, there were all these little comments. He said this, he said that, anonymous sources. It was all BS. He's turned out to be a really nice kid. I think he's going to need 1 year, though, to warm up. It's where he plays very quick. He's a quick player, but he also holds on to the ball a little long. And I think it's just going to take him 1 year to speed up to the NFL game. The Bears have a lot of young talent. They finished strong last year with the defense. I think they're going to win 9 or 10 games. And let me give you an example of a different kind of bet I made. So 3 weeks ago, Caleb Williams looked really good and the Bears looked good. So I wanted to bet the over 8.5. They were at like minus 150, roughly, on a national spread, over 8.5. So instead of betting over 8.5, laying 150, what I did was I took this is called a band. Here it is right here. My local casino was called Rivers Canby. There's like a half a dozen rivers around the country. So this is a band. I have the Bears to win 9, 10, or 11 games. I bet 3,000. I get plus 150 if they win 9, 10, or 11 games. So if they go under the number anyway, I still lose the same amount of money. But now if they win 9, 10, or 11, I get plus 150 instead of minus 150. Granted, if they win 12 or more, I lose instead of win. Then I outsmarted myself. But I think it's better to bet this band at 9, 10, or 11 at plus instead of laying juice. That's why these props, these books have all these different kind of props up. You have to pay attention, and sometimes they literally make a mistake. And again, to validate your opinion, so now here's another thing I bet. I have Detroit and Green Bay. And I have three different. They both top two, so either one can come in 1 or 2, and I have it at plus 160 for $1,000. So I agree with your opinion. I think the Vikings are going to win 5 or 6. I don't think Sam Darnold's good at all. I think he's a nothing. The Bears are going to win 9-ish, and it's going to be a battle between Detroit and Green Bay, and I have them either 1 or 2, plus 160. You know, and that's how we kind of agree on the division. It's a tough division this year.
Getting to your band, let's just say Bears come out guns a-blazing, and the good thing about that band is, let's just say they get to 11 wins, and your band is pressured here, and let's say they have 2 or 3 games left, George. You can always take the other side, obviously, on those next 2 games. There's quote unquote your hedge opportunity. Hey, if they happen to win one of those games, at least you can cover yourself. Let's just say they were 11-5 going into the last game of the year, you can make sure at worst you break even, if not make a profit on that final game.
No doubt about it. If I get in a tough spot, there's so many plan Bs and Cs I can do. But usually when I hedge, I kind of like to lock in a good position rather than trying to get out of a bad position, because then sometimes you're chasing your money, and sometimes you can go, you go absolutely nuts. But as we all know in the NFL, in 2 months when November rolls around, it's so unpredictable, and there's so many variables, and someone's going to get hurt, and like last year, I bet on the Cowboys to win the division. Early November, I looked bad. They were solid 2 games behind Philly, and I got lucky that Philly just melted down the last 6 weeks of the year, and Cowboys won the division, and I won my bet. But in 2 months, the NFL is going to be a different league. Then that's what's great about the NFL.
All right, George, we got about 8 minutes left, so we got plenty of time here. I wanted to give you an opportunity, and again, you don't have to tip your hand. We're not looking for any inside information or anything. Circa Survivor. No bigger thrill. We get to follow that all year, and it was amazing. I remember last year you talking about the chop. Our biggest sponsor, WagerWire, is in talks of trying to get their software into Circa and these other places where you would actually, when you see the cash out for DraftKings and FanDuel, that number is so skewed where we get live up to the second what the real value is. And you've talked about this for a long, long time. So as each week you survive, that price of your initial $1,000 investment and it gets shrunk with the teams that lose and the people that lose, your initial investment, the price is going up. So I know you're involved in it. I can just say I'm 45 minutes from Gillette Stadium and the Patriots. I had to sit through 2 decades in Bill We Trust, Tom Brady, bow down. And in my business, you got to do 2 things, George. You got to leave your heart and your ego at the door every day. I don't care about the pomp and circumstances. I care about when the gun sounds, did we win, grin, and profit. So you're into the Circa Survivor this year. What were you doing all summer? And again, I can tell you 40% at least, 40% of week one will have the Bengals against the Patriots.
100%. It was a weird thing last season around December-ish, just like everyone else. I played Survivor this year. I got 2 entries, but I really got into it like last December and January, talking about the chop, talking about, I mean, and just like everybody, I love the Survivor. I have 2 entries this year. And the funny thing is 35 years ago with my friends, 10 of us each put in $100 and I won it. So I'm 100% winner in Survivor in my lifetime. But this time I'm doing this. And this is what's great about, I mean, these guys come up with this idea 3 years ago. This Derek Stevens, he's great. And this thing now, I mean, what Circa done is unbelievable. Number 2, you're on Twitter like me. Very simple. I'll even mention his name. It's not Phil Hellmuth, the famous poker player. If you go to his Twitter account, he is now promoting a Survivor contest that he's when we're done, everyone, he is promoting his own version of a Survivor, and he's not the only one. There's a half a dozen other people on Twitter that are doing their version of a Survivor contest. This thing is going to explode. People love the lottery aspect. You buy in for $1,000, you get lucky, you make $10 million. It's unbelievable. And there, I have Survivor Sweat is my proxy this year. They're going to put in my 2 picks, and I agree with you. Half the people will have Cincinnati picked as week 1. Not that I necessarily agree with it. The other paradox of Survivor is you actually want to do the opposite of what the public is doing. So it is such a weird thing that, yes, you want to advance, but you also want to get lucky and hope that other people get knocked out. So you can argue all day long whether or not Cincinnati's a good pick or not. And both sides, I have a valid point. Half the battle is you have to advance. And I have my 2 picks. I'm not going to say what they are because I don't want other people following me. And you understand that, yada yada yada. But the Cincinnati angle, that's what makes Survivor great. You can argue both sides all day long. And the other issue with Survivor is we all kind of know what a poker tournament is. It's such a top-heavy payout. This Survivor is 10 times more top-heavy. Here we got 10,000 people in it. Paulie Howard last year, good guy. Mitch Moss, Paulie Howard. Paulie came in whatever it was, top 20, top 30. God bless him. He didn't get $1. So I'm a big believer that the top 100 should get 10 grand apiece, which would just be take 1 million of the 10 million out of the pool. You have 100 people now that get 10 grand. These are 100 people that would be bragging about how much they won. They'd be happy. They'd be talking about it. But that's a very sensitive stuff. Some people agree with me. Some people don't. I think make 100 people happy and just take out 1 million of the 10. But you can argue that one all day long too.
No, and when I was talking about WagerWire again, they talked about never get their software in there. Is the fact that as the weeks progress, you can see what the true value is, and you could sell off shares of your, you're in for 1,000. Let's say you make it to Thanksgiving, and now your 1,000 is worth, $78,000. You can sell off shares and still have a sweat and profit at the same time. And what's so unique about the Circa is you got to save one of the 6 teams for Thanksgiving. You got to save the teams for Christmas. Have you even looked at the full calendar? And you know, we know that the Lions always play on Thanksgiving. We know Dallas is playing on Thanksgiving. So has that thought process already come? Like, oh, I love this team. Oh, shoot, they're on Thanksgiving. I got to save them.
Hey, good question. Here we are, first page of my notebook to answer your question. So now I know before I make a pick, I have to think their Thanksgiving is the 3 games on Thanksgiving plus the 1 game after. Friday is Kansas City, Las Vegas Raider. Their Christmas Day is 2 games on Thanksgiving and the 1 game the day after. So here I am, the exact answer to your question of you have to think about this in Circa Survivor. And the interesting thing is the Bears play on both games, both of these weekends, and so do the Kansas City Chiefs. So, so let's just take a real quick in Thanksgiving. Most people are going to take Dallas against the Giants. But then again, how about let's do the opposite and not pick Dallas and hope Dallas loses. So you can go, and as of right now, I think Chicago at home against Seattle looks like the best pick on the quote unquote Christmas day. And you can go back. There is so much luck in this thing. The payout is crazy. Issue number 3, like you talked about, let's say someone wants to make a deal in December. Well, there's also a question of, would I make a deal with the guy and he quote unquote screws you? He doesn't agree with the deal. I think Circa has to get in the middle. It's a very simple legal agreement. Me and another guy agree. If I win, I take $1 million out, you get it. If you win, I win. It's very simple. I just want to because I want to get some money back. But there's gray areas how the deal is made. This is new now. This is real money, and it's going to explode. So Circa's got to make, when I make a suggestion, I also think about the house. I don't make a suggestion to give money away. When I have my idea that whenever that weekend is, that it gets within the top 100, everyone should be given 10 grand, which is just less than 10%. I think of the people that are not going to be bragging that, oh, at least I got 10 grand back. You're going to have 90 people walking around the country bragging about. So because this is real, there's so many gray areas now. It's crazy. And, but Circus, give them credit that they've created a monster in this month. This is just the beginning.
And last Thanksgiving, a lot of that pool saved the Lions against Green Bay. Green Bay came in as 7-point underdogs, and that was the coming out party for Jordan Love. And the Packers went box to wire, and a lot of people lost on Thanksgiving with the Lions 7-point favorites against the Packers.
Right, and exactly. And you heard the story, and I knew the story before they've had this special now. The one guy, the poor guy, his mother died a week before, and he was mentally rattled. He meant to pick Detroit that day. He accidentally pushed Green Bay, and he stayed in the contest because he made that mistake. And he got, a few $1 million. He got like 1/4 of the pool. Crazy, but that's how life is. You make a mistake, and but he benefited from his mistake.
2 minutes left, George. What is your go-to food, and what's the big meal of the day going to be today, George?
Well, go-to. I'm a little bit of a fast food guy. I'm a little, and I always pay for quality, and I like Greek food. I have to have the gyros made from scratch. And actually, this morning I tweeted out a picture. I went to a little dumpy bagel place, but they got a great bagel, and it's hard to find a good bagel in Chicago. It's not like New York City where there's a lot of them. Here, there's only a couple. Last night I went to this place, had a big pork chop at a place called Perry's. I never heard of it. They came out of Houston. It's a steakhouse. They're famous for this pork chop. It was really great. And no, but I'm a lamb chop guy. I'm not a big steakhouse guy because I don't like to pay $80 for a steak that's a la carte. It's a joke. They're all overpriced. It is what it is. But yeah, people are into my food, and it's kind of taken off. And like Matt Humans does his fast food thing and it's smart. Every summer when it's slow, and in general, Matt Humans is a fast food junkie. He's a great guy. I had lunch with him 3 years ago. He's a fast food guy. He loves fast food, and you know what? The funny thing, people do like food. People like food.
George, on Twitter, go follow George at GRPWins. George Panagakis, the man, the myth, the legend. We can't thank you enough, George. Thank you for making your debut. We'll keep you on speed dial, I promise.
Jeff, thank you. How about in 1 month we get an update on my all my futures bets? How about we do that and we check out my percentages and we see what. Here I am right now. Here's my list, and we check out my percentages in a month. See what's going on.
You got it, I promise you. George Panagakis at GRP Wins. Thank you so much. We're going to go to a quick commercial break and we're going to wrap it up here on Korn Flakes and Krack. ECSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for Sportsbooks and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the app. What a way to start the week. I mean, does it get any better? The one and only, the man, the myth, the legend, of course, Mr. Billy Krackomberger. We're going to have him on every Monday to start the week off with some recaps, who survived in advance in the contests, what's going on in Vegas, and we're just going to talk life. And no one better, of course, to start the week than with Mr. Billy Krackomberger. George, I tell you, George is a lightning rod on social media, on Twitter. You know, the notebook, the hair, the food reports. You know, Twitter is funny because you can be whoever you want behind the keyboard, and most people don't show their face. Well, George has no problem showing all that hair, which I have none of course. He's got his own quirkiness, and again, he's been gambling all his life. In gambling, we have egos and opinions, and it's good to get another look and another side from George, and a lot of people like George in this spaces, and because of Twitter, George has made a big name of himself, so we can't thank him enough. So without further ado, I'm kind of going to throw this kid a soft lob here, because I want to bring him on for a quick couple seconds. Our ace, our star producer, the one and only Mr. Noah Frank.
How you doing, Jeff?
I'm doing great, Noah. How are you?
Good.
Well, you had no idea I was going to bring you up here. We have less than 5 minutes, but the real reason I brought you up here is because, and if it has changed, fine, but I heard through the grapevine there might be a debut of a show tomorrow.
There is. Balls and Bow Ties podcast. Check us at 3 o'clock Eastern. We'll talk all the sports, mostly college football right now, but hopefully we get to, be entertaining for all you guys and get a lot of views.
We froze up just as you started, so restate that again.
Good. Our show is Balls and Bow Ties.
I think Balls and Bow Ties, 2 o'clock, correct?
Yep.
All right. We were freezing up a couple times. You're always in the studio. You're the man behind the glass. So when I have an opportunity to actually bring you on here, I'm gonna just give you a couple soft lobs and curveballs. Balls and Bow Ties, 2 o'clock, and you'll be talking what?
Tomorrow will probably be a lot of college football as before college basketball starts again. So probably talk college football and MLB.
And your Twitter handle? We keep freezing up on you. I apologize. I apologize, sir. That's Noah Frank. Go follow Land. We couldn't be proud to have him on, but we got some big things brewing back here at the ECSI studio. You guys, if you haven't followed us, you can follow me at EC Sports Invest, but most of all, head on over to YouTube, okay, at East Coast Sports Investors. Subscribe. It's free. and then turn on the notifications on all your social media, and you'll never miss a show, whether it's Billy Krackomberger, whether it's Brady Kannon, Tea Time Wages, Gamblu, UFC, Matt Grissom, Quentin Mills, NCAA Insiders. That's just a little. Andrew McGinnis, Wager Talk. Mr. Sean Alvarez, Smooth Turn at Wager Talk, Talking Horses. We cover all the bases here. I promise you, this is where you want to be. And we got a big show potentially brewing to start your mornings. Shout out to Mitch and Paulie, moving from the mornings to the afternoons. Mitch, Paulie, I can't thank you guys enough. I got Nesson here in Boston. Watch every show. If it wasn't for you guys, you helped me get through COVID. You guys are the best in the business. We can't thank you enough. Shout out to Noah Frank. Again, go check out his new podcast Tuesday, Balls and Bow Ties, Tuesday, 2 o'clock this station. I want everyone here to have a blessed Monday. Enjoy the BC Florida State game. Enjoy day baseball. And we will see you soon.